Hello boys and girls, this is Mr. So again. Welcome back for another lesson of biology. Today we are going through lesson 12. For the exercise of classwork 26.1, I will introduce you the idea of test cross, which helps to identify the genotype of a dominant character. Before you start the video, please remember to like and subscribe my channel and also share the video to your classmate and remind them to do their revision at home. Alright, let's start. I'm now going to introduce you a test cross. The cross in here, it helps you to do the one thing, that is identify the genotype of an organism with a dominant character. What the scientists found and encounter is they have difficulty finding out the genotype of a dominant character, such as you have a tall plant in here. Your tall plant, it can either be a homozygote dominant with both big T and big T, or it can be a heterozygote, big T and small t. By looking at the shape, the character, you don't know whether it's a homozygous dominant big T or heterozygous. In order to know what exactly genotype it has, you have to do a test cross. That is to cross the plant with a homozygous recessive. After crossing with a homozygous recessive, you will know the tall plant whether it is a homozygous dominant or heterozygote. So now you have two different cases over here, and let's try to do it one by one. Case 1. If your parent is a homozygous dominant, you have to now cross it with a homozygous recessive to find out the ratio of the offspring, such as you have a tall plant, and now your tall plant is a homozygous dominant, so you have big T. You cross it with a homozygous recessive, small t. And then for the gamete, let's draw out the genetic diagram. It's going to give a big T and a small t from each of the parent. After they do the fertilization, you have the F1. You'll be able to get a big T and a small t combination, and only one type of offspring will be given out, that is tall character. So this is case 1. If the parent is homozygous dominant, you will only have one type of offspring coming out when you cross it with a homozygous recessive character over here. What about case 2? If the parent is a heterozygote, let's try. If the parent is heterozygote, this time is tall plant, but it's heterozygous, not big T, but it's the big T with a small t. You now cross it with a short plant, and it must be a homozygous recessive, both small t. Let's take a look at the gametes that they make. For the tall plant, it's going to make two types of gamete, big T and small t. But for the small plant, it's going to make only one type of gamete, one small t. And then for the F1 that comes out, you have two different combinations here. So it can have an offspring with big T and small t, and then another combination of small t, both small t. And so therefore, for the phenotype, the character, for the big T, small t, it should be a tall plant. And for the small t, it should have a character, the phenotype of short plant. And the ratio is 1 to 1, tall to short. So right now, if the parents is heterozygotes, when you cross it with a homozygous recessive, small t, you will get the ratio tall to short 1 to 1. And this is how it works. Now let's try to finish the remaining question of your classwork 26.1. Last time you have a homozygous dominant long wing fruit flies crossed with a homozygous recessive vestigial wings fruit flies, and all of their offspring, they are long wings, and all of their offspring, they are heterozygote. And then now, question C. A student would like to carry out a breeding experiment to determine the genotype of a long wing fruit flies in the F2 generation. So on the last time, you try to cross the F1 with F1 and then give the F2 generation. You have 3-to-1 ratios, long wings. But in here, the problem is you do not know whether the long wing, are they homozygote dominant or heterozygote. You have no idea. So therefore, you have to do a test cross. Do a test cross. Exclamation mark. So what is the genotype of the fruit flies that the student should use to breed with the long wing flies to determine the genotype, blah, 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 of the long wing fly? It should be he or she, the student should use a homozygote recessive to do the test cross. This is what we learned in the previous few minutes. So if the long wing and vestigial wing fly, they both appear in the first generation of the breeding experiment, that means the test cross afterwards, is the long wing fly a homozygous or a heterozygous? Can you explain with the help of a genetic diagram? Think before you do. A few minutes ago, I gave you 2 cases. The first case, homozygous dominant, it gives only 1 type of offspring. Case 2, heterozygous after test cross, it gives 2 types of offspring. Now, in these questions, which case are we talking about? It should be case 2, right? You have 2 types of offspring coming out. Both the long and the vestigial wings fly come out after the test cross, so you have 2 types. Therefore, if you want to do the questions, you have to use it with the case 2 answer. So let's start with parent. Now, for the long wing fly, you should know that it should be a heterozygote. And you are now going to do the test cross, so you're going to cross it with, very importantly, you have to cross it with a homozygote recessive. You must cross it with a vestigial wings. In here, small f, small f. After that, you have to write me down the gamete. So for the long wing, a heterozygote, it gives 1 big F and 1 small f. While for the vestigial wing, it only gives 1 type of gamete, that is small f. After that, you have to tell me what happens after the test cross. After that, the first generation F1, they should have 2 types, big F, small f. And then another one, small f, small f. So now you have to write me the phenotype. Big F, it should be long wing. Small f, it should be the vestigial wing, 退化翼. And the ratio is, very importantly, ratio is 1 to One, you have two types of offspring coming out, and they are in a ratio of 1 to 1. Therefore, at the end, the long-winged flies being studied is, you can tell me, is a heterozygote for the length of the wings. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you understand and enjoy the video. I will see you next time. Bye bye.